bottom line is free radicals can damage our cells, damage the function of our cells, cause premature aging, cause disease, cause degeneration, and cause all the havoc we're seeing. And, we're just being exposed to too many toxins. So we need to be as proactive as humanly possible to take care of ourselves. So this is an easy way to do that. And it's so easy to take. All you have to do is in your little capful, that plastic cap here, you pour it and then put it in your mouth, swish it in your mouth. And what we heard is the secret sauce for taking the NutriSwish, and thank you, Keith, for sharing that with us, is you swish it in your mouth for 30 seconds and keep it in your mouth for, if you can, 4 minutes. And what I do is I just end up, tidying things, washing dishes, doing some work at the computer while I swish for 30 seconds, cheek to cheek, and then keep it in your mouth for 4 minutes if you can. But let's say at least a minute if you can, and then swallow. So it can get into your bloodstream. So again, one of the key benefits and functions of glutathione is to be able to be the mother of all antioxidants, because vitamins A and C and so on, they're incredibly important in vitamin E, but they can only be used once, meaning let's say there's that unruly teenager who's stealing an electron from a cell. That electron that cell is saying, I'm missing my electron, so I need one back so I can be healthy again. So the vitamin A or C or E will give that cell, that kid, an electron so it can have its pair and be healthy. So for that vitamin A, C, or E, these different vitamins can give it once and then they're done. But glutathione can give it again, give it again, give it again, giving those cells that need that electron, or those kids whose electron was stolen from them, give it back to them so they can all be healthy and happy and play and do the job they need to do. And for us, and I want you to remember this statement is so important. Cells make up tissues, your tissues make up your organs, and your organs make up all the different systems in your body, starting from your brain, your neurological system, let's say your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, your digestive system, your stomach, and your intestines, and the pancreas, and so on, and your liver. And then there is the urinary tract system, which is, kidney, bladder, your lymphatic system, which is for your immune system and to help to drain toxins. So we have so many different systems, but it all boils back to your cells. And again, we have, let's say, 50 trillion of these cells. So again, cells make up your tissues make up your organs, and your organs make up all the systems in your body. So that we have to take everything back to the cell, your little mini-me's. And so the glutathione is so important. Again, your cells make it, but again, these stores that we have of glutathione are being used up so quickly because of all the toxins we're exposed to. So that physical stress and emotional stress, when we have different things happen in our life, or there could be so many different issues and situations and circumstances happening in your life that create stress, emotional stress. So that's why we need to take glutathione from an outside source. And that's why, and I was mentioning before, the building blocks of glutathione, the glutamate, the glycine, and the cysteine. And cysteine is a little more difficult to get. We can get it from sulfur foods, the cruciferous veggies like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, etc. But we're just not getting enough, even if we're eating really healthy. So that's why they included the cysteine and turmeric, curcumin, which is so important, for decreasing inflammation in our body as well. So we get the building blocks of glutathione in the NutriSwish, and then also in addition to getting the building blocks, you're also getting the glutathione itself. So both are extremely important. So I just wanted to emphasize that. So mother of all antioxidants is what glutathione is. And just to let you know, there's over 183,000 studies on glutathione and maybe 70,000 studies on vitamin C. Everyone's heard of vitamin C, but not many people still know about glutathione. And so I'm telling you, you're leading edge even being on this call and learning about glutathione and being aware of it, because the masses are not. So it's that important. And then glutathione is also very, very important for our immune system. Our immune system is our first line of defense for anything: bacteria, viruses, fungus, parasites, mold, toxic agents, chemicals, microplastics, whatever it may be, and whatever we're being bombarded with. We need glutathione to support our immune system, so our immune system can go and do the job of cleaning our body out of whatever it needs to clean. And so we're just exposed again to too many poisons and toxins, so we need the glutathione. We also need the glutathione for energy. And so the little engines in your cells, the mitochondria, generate energy, and they need glutathione. And now it's being shown that aging itself and degeneration is also related to low levels of glutathione. And there is a wonderful book. It's called The Comprehensive Guide. But I just wanted to mention, for the brain, for example, low levels of glutathione are related to all the conditions I'm going to mention, such as for the brain, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, seizures, multiple sclerosis, autism. For the lungs, for asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, pulmonary fibrosis, which we're seeing more and more cases of nowadays. For the heart, to prevent heart disease, strokes, and prevent hardening of the arteries. And for the digestive system, because of everything we're exposed to, for the most part, majority of the people have some form of gut inflammation, which affects how they digest food, how they absorb nutrients, and how we get those nutrients to cells. So liver inflammation, fatty liver, which has become an epidemic. And the reason we have fatty liver so much is we're seeing such high level of fatty liver is because also of low levels of glutathione. Then the body says, you know what? We have to protect our organs. Let's lay on more fat on the liver to protect it from all these toxins. So we need glutathione to help with that too. And for ulcers, inflammation of the stomach, esophagus, also, believe it or not, is related to low levels of glutathione. So if you know someone if you personally have either like acid reflux, stomach upset, inflamed stomach, digestive issues, it's definitely related to low glutathione. So you definitely need to increase your glutathione levels. Also, as I mentioned, it's antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-everything. So very, very important for that, including for herpes as well. So with shingles and herpes, where they get cold sores on the mouth or in the genital area, it's also related to low levels of glutathione. And for the C, for prevention, let's say for cancer prevention, you need adequate levels of glutathione. And it can prevent, the glutathione can prevent wasting as well. And for athletes, and even for those of us who exercise, and I'm definitely not an athlete, it can help with your athletic performance, your recovery, less pains and aches, taking it I always take it before I go for my walk. And then sometimes I take a little after my walk. And then also for the eyes, for cataracts, retinal issues, macular degeneration. They have all been linked to low levels of glutathione. So that's why glutathione is so, so, so important. I can't emphasize that enough. So this book is a great book to really understand why glutathione is so important. And the bottom line, whether you get that book or not, is know that you need glutathione. And the NutriSwish is one of the best forms all time of getting that glutathione into your cells. And so also I wanted to mention, because this is so exciting, is, well, I'm going to first kind of lay out some other systems here. And before I do that, another key reason why glutathione is so important is for delivering oxygen to your cells, because this is very important. You have hemoglobin. So in your red blood cell is a protein known as hemoglobin. And hemoglobin, like a magnet, will attract oxygen, which sticks to it. Then the cell goes around your body and says, oh, these cells or these organs need oxygen, and will release the oxygen. However, without glutathione or low levels of glutathione, that oxygen won't be delivered to your cells properly or as efficiently. And the reason for that is, with that protein or hemoglobin, it has a charge, an electrical charge on it that needs to be corrected. And glutathione makes that correction, because otherwise you've got your protein, and then you've got which is the hemoglobin, and then you've got your oxygen, and we need them, like, like a magnet, North and South Pole. We need them to, boom, come together. However, if you have two magnets with the North Pole next to each other, they'll repel each other. And we don't want that. We want our cells to get the oxygen, especially now more than ever. So to correct that electrical charge, what you need is glutathione. It's very, very important. And so, again, we need glutathione it's the mother of all antioxidants. Glutathione helps us to detoxify. It supports our immune system. It supports the delivery of oxygen to our cells. And also, glutathione is very important for protecting our cells from all these toxins and regeneration. And there's a study that was done in PubMed that showed low levels of glutathione will actually affect the strength of our muscles and will affect our ability to regenerate stem cells. So, over time they say, our bones are getting weaker, the muscles are getting weaker. Well, for that, we need stem cells. So I'm going to explain this just to give you a bird's eye overview of what happens. So let's say, I'm going to give an example of, there's an injury in the foot, and the cells in the foot are saying, we need help. And then, however, if the signals from those cells in the foot can't get to the brain because they're not able to make the right amount of signals, or those signals are not being transferred through the blood to get to the brain, then what happens is the brain won't know there's an issue with something going on in the foot. And so if it doesn't know there's something going on in the foot, then the injury can persist, more inflammation, more issues going on. And I just want to clarify, for inflammation is good, but we don't want too much for too long. It's like when, let's say you go to a forest or go for camping and you heat up a fire and to heat up your food, you want that fire, but you don't want that fire to then go into the forest and cause chaos, like we've seen in other places. Of course, it's another story, another red pill. But anyway, rabbit hole, I should say. So, but what we need fire to heat the food, right? We just don't want it to create an inferno. What happens is, when there's too much inflammation from lack of circulation, oxygenation, from so many toxins we're exposed to, from physical toxins and emotional toxins, all of these things and much more of electromagnetic frequencies, etc., can create long-term inflammation where there's like an inferno constantly going on. So whenever there's an injury or infection or something going on in the body, the cells are supposed to send out a signal then the brain says, oh, we need to take care of this, instructs the immune system to direct the cells to that area to heal and repair, increases circulation, increases oxygen and vitamins and minerals to go to that area to repair it. However, if the brain's not getting the signal, if the brain is getting the signal, but because of so much inflammation, everything going on in the body, is not able to properly send the signals back for repair, then that creates another issue. Because the bottom line is we want to then also generate stem cells. Stem cells are like fundamental cells that regenerate every organ in our body. And our body's always being regenerated, but we want it to be regenerated in a healthy way. So we need healthy stem cells. So we need healthy communication. So just like any relationship, whether it's with family, friends, at work, we need to be able to communicate back and forth, right? So otherwise, if there's no communication, then there's misunderstandings, and then that can lead to chaos in human-to-human relationships. The cell thing with cell to cell, they need to be able to communicate to one another. And because of what we're exposed to in our current day and age, our ability of our cells to communicate is really getting affected, which is then also affecting our cells' ability to detoxify, to regenerate, to rebuild, to repair. And low levels of glutathione are linked to all of this whole stream of events. So that is how important glutathione is. We need it for our cells to signal to each other, for the circulation, for the oxygenation, for detoxification, and for regeneration. So we need it for all of the above. So again, what makes this product so unique in so many ways, which can't be overemphasized, is how it's delivered. And by the way, whenever we are traveling, I panic if I notice our stocks are low, because I always make sure we have plenty of Numi. In this day and age of the NutriSwish, in this day and age, you need to make sure you are well stocked on your NutriSwish. And when we travel, we pack, of this in the suitcase and make sure we have it, because, and just recently, just to give you an example, when we traveled, the people we visited, all were sick they all had come down with, the flu. And so they all were not doing well. So we just kind of doubled up on our dose of the NutriSwish, and we felt, really comfortable, because we know what it's doing as the mother of all antioxidants, what it's doing for our immune system, what it's doing for oxygen delivery, and everything else I was mentioning today. So we just took more of it, and we did fine. And so I can't emphasize that enough. That is so, so important to take this. And again, the delivery is in ultra pure water. It's so tiny. They make the molecules within this, anywhere from 100 nanometers to even 10 nanometers. And so when you swish with it, then it gets into your circulation, gets into your cells, and that's where the magic begins. Because the bottom line is, we want the glutathione and the building blocks of glutathione to get into your cells. And what I love about this NutriSwish is not only does it give you the glutathione, it gives you the building blocks for you to make your own glutathione. So that's so beautiful. And then it has the curcumin as well, and vitamin C to support you even further, to decrease inflammation, to support your immune system. And it's delivered in such a beautiful way. And it gets within your cells, I think it's within about 70 seconds, which is incredible. So it's getting in your bloodstream. Then some of it, of course, is going in your digestive system, where we need it desperately as well. Because any underlying issue that may be there is been linked, again, any medical issue has been linked to low levels of glutathione. So we need our glutathione. And the ancients knew 5,000 years ago that the first step for a healthy body is a healthy digestive system, a healthy gut. And that's why with all the sprays they're using, the glyphosate, the drying agents on the grains, how they're making the wheat like short and stocky, so that it's really hard to digest. And, that inflames our guts. So how many nutrients are we actually digesting and absorbing, and how much is getting to our cells? That's why, leaky gut is there, where there's so much inflammation in the gut. So, and then, the cells in your gut are supposed to be so tight together, but like an elevator door, they open up a little and toxins, bugs go into our bloodstream, then the immune system. So great. Another thing I have to deal with here. So we need to make sure our gut is as healthy as possible. And so again, I can't emphasize how important glutathione is for your health and wellness, for you and your loved ones. So I know I've shared a lot of things, and but just again, know, if you remember one thing only, that glutathione is so important for your health, for your vitality, for repairing your body, for repairing your organs, repairing your cells, for regeneration, for turning back the clock, for everything that your cells need to function properly. You need glutathione. So I hope that gives you an overview of the necessity for this incredible nutrient and product.
So I just wanted to tell everybody that might not know that Dr. Rupa is a very famous doctor. She's featured on international television shows, Learning Channel, radio programs as well, and podcasts. And she's among the first doctors in America to be named Best Doctor by Women's Choice Awards.
And so the reason this technology is so profound is because, first of all, it's in a water base. It's not dissolved in fat. It's in the most purified form of water that you can imagine. And the particles of the glutathione and the other ingredients are so tiny. They're like 100 nanometers or even as low as 10 nanometers. So when you swish with it, it goes from the mucosal lining in your mouth and underneath your tongue right into your bloodstream, and within 70 seconds gets into your cells to do its magic. And the body recognizes water, so it's delivered in the form that's natural, that your body will understand, to be able to use glutathione and the building blocks of glutathione and the other ingredients in there, which help decrease inflammation and enhance your immune system in the most beautiful way possible. And the way to take it again is you just pour it in the little plastic cap, put it in your mouth, you swish for 30 seconds or so, keep it in your mouth. The secret sauce is if you can keep it in your mouth for 4 minutes and just go about doing some other things. I keep a timer, and then I swallow after 4 minutes. But you don't have to keep it that long if you want just a minute or so. The bottom line is, when you're keeping it in your mouth, then more is absorbed directly from your mouth, directly into your bloodstream. And then, of course, it goes into your stomach and digestive system as well. And, the glutathione has so many benefits for the digestive system. So it's just a beautiful product in the most easily deliverable form, in a way that our body recognizes and can use, so that you benefit the most.
The NutriSwish, how it's like 10 nanometers, which is supposedly like 10 times smaller than the actual cell size in our body. So instead of trying to put a regular supplement in our body that's maybe 120 nanometers bigger than our cells, kind of like putting a basketball into a softball, but now we're putting a pea into a softball. Is that part of the process, do you think, that makes it such a fast transition of 70 seconds of getting on the inside of our cells?
Absolutely. Definitely. That's what's so ingenious about it. One was that it's in water. I know. I would kept emphasizing that because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
To be able to put these ingredients into a form that is purified water that our body can recognize, so it's easy to travel through our bloodstream. And then, because, yes, it's so small, it is able to so efficiently get into our cells to do its magic. And that's the other key. One is getting it into the body. The second is the body feeling like it's safe and not having to fight it. If you know what I mean, like if it's in fat or something. So then for it to be small enough to actually get into the cell, and then the cell's like, oh, okay, now I can take this in and do what I need to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
That was a great question, Erin.